had to just be beyond your wildest beliefs.
It really is. And just to think about not only did Villanova win their second national championship last night, but a win of the ages in college basketball history. I mean, there's a reason it's been 33 years since somebody won this game at the buzzer. I remember being a 13-year-old kid watching Derek Wittenberg. It's a long way. Lorenzo Charles with the follow, back in Albuquerque in '83, and it's just, as that's playing itself out, it's just surreal. And I just kept thinking to myself as a play-by-play guy, just stay with the call.
For those that didn't hear the call, give us your thought process when North Carolina ties it and there's 4.7 seconds left. What is going on in that building at that moment?
Well, it was just, Cage, his shot, is you watch his shot, the way he had to contort his body, the double clutch, the whole thing, and then you watch the ball go through the net. It's almost like he literally willed that basketball in. And it ended up being, coming into the game, Marcus Page is a tremendous leader. He is a two-time academic All-ACC guy. They love him, and he's an incredible player. But Arcidiacono is one of the greatest leaders in the history of Villanova basketball. And I just thought coming into that game, I'm like, this is going to be the will of two senior guards that just refuse to lose. And in the end, Arcidiacono was able to just hear Chris Jenkins calling for it, and the way he served that up on a platter for Jenkins, it was perfection.
Ryan Fannon, the voice of the Villanova Wildcats, called it last night. So 4.7, they call timeout. What is the atmosphere like during that timeout from your vantage point that you could tell? Was there mass hysteria on the Villanova sideline, very calm? How would you describe the way Villanova handled the time period between the bucket and then when they inbound the ball?
Jay always talks about next game. Don't look back, don't look forward, and he always talks about next play. So our guys, being the veteran group, we were very composed. They went into the huddle. Arcidiacono, you knew he was going to get the ball, and he was going to try to make a play. And making a play was, he's made a lot of big shots in his career. So, this is where you look at this whole thing, the way it played out. Jenkins was the X factor. When his game came on in mid-January, I'll always remember this team as Josh Hart was our best player, Arcidiacono was our most important player, and Chris Jenkins was the X factor. But when Arcidiacono brought it across the timeline with 2.5 seconds to go, and he started going towards the right wing a little bit, and Jenkins, you could just, Jenkins was called. I was listening to them talk about this in the post-game press conference in Houston last night. Ryan just said, Jenkins just kept calling, Ryan, I'm here. And it was just perfect. It was one of those things where they really had multiple options because you feel like Archie's going to make the right decision, whether it's the winning shot or the perfect pass. And I think just Villanova being calm, a veteran team that didn't panic, was able to just execute a play that will be talked about forever.
Ryan Fannon with us. Ryan, how about Booth last night? Because Mike Gill was talking about earlier that you had said Booth was a potential X factor, and boy, was he ever.
He was incredible. That kid to score 20 points. He's been a guy off the bench this year that hasn't shot the ball extremely well until the last month of the season, but he might be our best on-ball defender. He's a terrific spark off the bench for us, and I just, you get so excited about winning a national championship, and then you start to think, what is this kid Booth going to feel like now going into his junior year? His confidence level, he just scored 20 points in the national championship game. Villanova is going to be loaded again next year. We had this incredible 8-man rotation. 6 of the top 8 are juniors or younger. We got a couple great recruits coming in. Villanova basketball is just at an unbelievable place in its history right now.
Get us back to some of the sights and sounds, because I know, Arcidiacono ended up with Jim Nance's tie. Ochefu was talking about his mopping duties, just some of the stuff that people may have missed.
The whole thing, I just think about Houston. One thing that I'll never forget is walking into NRG Stadium and literally seeing the Houston Astrodome next door and thinking, this is bizarre. Villanova played in the national championship only 3 times in school history. 71, 85, and 2016. And 2 of the 3 title games were within 250 yards of each other. And that was just, to me, something that I'll never forget about just being down there in Houston. And then the amount of Villanova fans that found their way to Houston, even Saturday or just coming in on Monday for the title game, there was a quiet confidence that Villanova people had. They bought into this team at every level because they knew how unselfish they were. They knew the great leader that Arcidiacono was. And I think everybody just felt we were good enough to win a national championship. And then to go do it in that kind of dramatic fashion that people will be talking about for 50 years, I mean, it's still surreal to me.
You've been calling games for, 18 years now, Ryan?
Yes.
Arcidiacono, where does he rank in the pantheon of guys of games that you've called?
Well, in terms of his career or last night?
I think it was a career because I think he's a 4-year player that really epitomizes a program. So when you look back at all the kids' games that you've called, that mean what he's meant to that program.
In terms of his will to win and his leadership, it's probably number 1. Randy Foye, Scotty Reynolds, and I would say now Ryan Arcidiacono. I mean, those 3 guys, I've always talked forever about Foye and Reynolds. But now I feel like, Ryan Arcidiacono, I mean, because when you combine everything that he brings to the table, I mean, I think he now might have to be number 1.
We know you got to get running, Ryan Fannon. It's been a whirlwind weekend for the Villanova family, and they win the national championship last night. He had the final call for Villanova Radio. Ryan, we appreciate all the time you've given us.
Hey, it's awesome. Great being on with you guys, and look forward to a great parade in the city on Friday.